Hello everyone, as it loads in. Hi. So let me lower this down. Hello everyone, welcome to our 8 p.m. Amena Art Live. I am Delphia. This is Amena Art that you are watching. We're doing our normal print live. Today we've kind of switched up locations, much comfier couch, but come on and join us. We're going to be talking over some art and just generally relaxing. We've got some music. I'm not exactly sure if you guys can hear it, but hello everyone, welcome in. I believe it's a Sunday, so very exciting, very nice. Last day of the week, and we apparently also had a parade yesterday, which is very nice. But anyways, I hope you all are having a very good weekend, week, and everything else. And I am happy to see you all here. Once again, I am Delphine. This is Amena Art. We paint all these gorgeous paintings. I'm going to be showing you a few and kind of just explaining basically the story and references behind them. Of course, starting out with this one, but if you guys have any questions or anything, you're more than free to ask, and I'm pretty sure I'll get up eventually and answer them. But starting off, we actually have here is Temptation. It is this tiger, actually. It's kind of like leaning forward to drink this water. This one actually has more of a, not as deep to the artist herself, but more of just a reference of kind of like the spring. So this one is mainly referenced off of those scenes that you see in like those safari, what are they? They're like the watching where you watch the animals. Documentaries, that's what it is. So it's like safari documentaries, and they always have like these water scenes and everything else. But this is kind of around the springtime, which this is referenced in. And it's around the water, and the reason why it's called Temptation is because obviously animals in spring, I think you can put 1 and 2 together, I would hope. And beside it, to even solidify the spring theme a little bit more, is actually peonies, I believe. Peonies. I believe it's that, but they only bloom here in Fredericksburg, Virginia in actual springtime. So it only lasts probably about 2 weeks before they're gone again, which is very sad. But it's definitely a very alluring piece, and you got this gorgeous tiger just staring you down, which I'll bring it a bit closer here so you all can see. I'm coming. What I'm talking about. Hello everyone, welcome on in. So as you can tell, we got the tiger here. It's kind of staring you down with these peonies, just like surrounding it. This blue actually is water, if you can zoom in or not, but very gorgeous. Actually, the undertones on this painting, for anyone curious, is actually a blue as well, for a very short time, probably about a few weeks, while the artist Amena K was in between paintings. She actually left the tiger blue for some time, which people did enjoy, but she was not intending to leave it blue. Very gorgeous though. And the hardest part, honestly, about this piece was actually the stripes, because she really wanted to show really like the muscle on this, like really define how like tough it was, because mind you, this is a tiger around the springtime. Its own physique and like looks kind of matter a lot around that time, so it had to look tough and things with the stripes and everything else. So it took her a long time to actually get the stripes perfectly where it really showed the muscle but not like missed out on any of the shading. So it actually does have a lot of shading to it where you can really see the depth of the colors, which is very beautiful with a lot of her works. So this one particularly was painted this year, actually, 2025. And I believe it was painted around 2 months ago at this point. So very gorgeous. But yes, this is Temptation. And also, I do love it. I'm not sure how well you guys can see it. Probably not the best, honestly. I should probably still move it up. I'm over here, I can't see it perfectly, but you guys can. I noticed that. But it's very beautiful, honestly. And I do love it. So for anyone curious, this one is the collector's fine art print, and this one's actually the first edition, I believe. So this is the first edition, which we have many editions, but this is the first. She actually signed it on the back for this one, so it is collector's. As well as this is the 13 by 13. This one particularly is framed, but of course we do have unframed. I do love it though a lot, actually. It is one of my more favorite current pieces, honestly. It's between this one and the strawberry, which I don't think we're showing the strawberry tonight, but I'm sure I will another day. But hello everyone, welcome on in. For anyone that's still joining, hi, I'm Delphine. This is Amena Art. We have our lovely artist Amena that paints everything here. Currently you are looking at Temptation, which is right here on the side of the screen. It's this gorgeous tiger, and the reference mainly was kind of like spring, honestly, like safari spring. It's actually looking at you with these gorgeous peonies, I believe it is, around its like face. Kind of gives that like tempting vibe to it, honestly. But hello everyone, welcome on in. Hope you're enjoying the live. So very gorgeous. There's not much really to fully say about this piece other than I do love it. And the actual full-sized one is also absolutely stunning. Like, this is just a print, so we print all the ones here, but this one's just a print. But the actual full-sized painting is huge. It's actually bigger than this one over here, which this can be considered big for some people, but still very gorgeous and very tempting, honestly. I'm curious actually where you guys would put this exactly in your homes or anything else. For me personally, it would probably go in the bedroom, honestly, which I think I don't need to really state the reasons why for that. I think the name itself should really tell you. But yeah, so bedroom, possibly. I could probably also see it in like a really nice living room as well. But honestly, I do love it very much. And this one is the fine art print. And of course, all of our prints we do actually make here in our studio down in Virginia. That's where we currently are live streaming from. But this one is our 13 by 13. Very pretty. But I do enjoy it a lot. If you guys have any questions on this piece, feel free to ask and I will happily answer. Seems like we don't have any questions, so I'm going to go ahead show you guys the next one, which I have them all over here. So Temptation, putting off to the side. Once again, I'll give you guys a very close-up look here, just in case if you didn't get a good look from afar. Very beautiful though, with this tiger. That's Temptation. Let me go ahead, pull out the next one in the pile that we have over here. The next one on our list of prints I'm showing you guys tonight is actually a bit older one. So we went over Temptation, which was painted this year actually, 2025. And now we're going over a little bit older one. This one's Fox. It was painted in 2023, so not too old. It's about probably 2 years old now, 2-3 years old. But this is Fox. It was painted actually during an event that happens here in Fredericksburg, Virginia, specifically in, I believe, the fall. it happens. It's called Art Attack. But this one was during the 2023 event. It only lasts for a day, so if you're here luckily on that specific day, you would see that literally there's artists that take over the streets of the historic downtown Fredericksburg, Virginia. Very gorgeous event. We actually were at the event last year, which we were next to another artist and also some dancers. Very lovely, and I do enjoy it. But this one was painted during the 2023 version. Of course, it was prepped beforehand, just slightly with some of the outlines and of course the background. But Fox itself was actually one of the bigger pieces she did at the time. Currently, it's about, I would say it's probably about a medium at like today's date. It's not all for biggest anymore. But Fox itself, it's just really riding that calmness that a lot of people do love. Foxes also here in Virginia do actually exist. We do see them very occasionally, just rarely. But I'll bring this up closer so you can really see it. You can probably see it a little bit here. Let me bring it closer for you all. So there's the fox. It's actually got this very nice style going on with the flowers here, which if you look at the flowers, you can kind of see it's kind of got like this sketchy style. She actually does not do this style that I know of with any other type of flowers in her painting. So this is currently the only one that has that style, but it's also currently the only big painting she has that is not signed on the front. So if you were paying attention during Temptation, when I brought it up close there, you probably saw the signature in the I'm pretty sure for the phone it's the rightmost corner, but it was signed on the front. Same with all of her paintings currently, they are actually signed on the front, except for Fox. Fox was actually not signed on the front at all. Now you're probably wondering why. Well, there's actually a few reasons. But the most common and the most reason on why she didn't sign it immediately on the event, because she did finish it during the event, it's because technically she was going to go back and actually retweak the tail a little bit. So the tail here, it was not touched actually and tweaked. This is actually the same it has been since the event in 2023. But during it, when she finished with this piece, she wanted to go back and actually make it fluffier, which she obviously never did, as you can tell. Of course, about 2 to 3 years passed from there, and it still hasn't been done because now it's been such a long time. It's practically impossible for her to reasonably find the colors that would match to look nicely with it. So that's also why she hadn't signed it, because it wasn't technically finished at the time, and now she would have a hard time remixing colors to basically do the signing. Because all of her colors here, actually she hand mixes herself, so she doesn't use any just straight out of the bottle. She actually mixes them, she makes them all nice, so she does get really nice acrylic paints, which very gorgeous. She knows her colors really well, but it also makes it very hard to do any tweaking or touch-ups later. That is really Fox. Just a calm, peaceful piece here. And I'm pretty sure it does have a little bit more in-depth story on like the flowers and such, which we do actually have, I believe, a video on it on our page. But Fox, honestly, super peaceful, super cute, and I do enjoy its actual style. When we had the public gallery, which currently we're live streaming from the private one, if you can't tell. When we had the private gallery open for about a year, it's kind of like a pop-up. This one actually was the favorite for about half the year. So half the year for the pop-up in the public location. the fox was actually the favorite. Everyone loved the fox. Everyone had to see the fox, and we actually had multiple people every time that we would move it from a window, from the wall. They would get concerned and be like, "Oh my goodness, where's the fox?" But it's still here, and this is just one of the prints. So this is our 13 by 13 fine art print for anyone curious, and this one's actually, I believe, our first edition for this actual size. We did have smaller ad time, but those are now discontinued. This is actually signed on the back by the artist as well, and of course we have framed and non-framed options. But very gorgeous. I'll give you guys one last really good look at it up close for anyone curious, and then we'll move on again. So, you can really see, like I was saying, it has this kind of like coloring style where it's just small strokes. The face really detailed, and you can kind of see the tail there as well. This actually is cropped, if you can't tell. The full image, like the full actual painting, is actually a rectangle, which sometimes we do have to crop images to fit in to a certain print size. But very gorgeous still. Honestly, it's just one of those pieces that's nice to keep around. But that's the fox. We are going to put this off to the side and move on to the next. So we've got a bit of a different frame now that I'm bringing out. This one's actually a rectangle. I think this is the only rectangle I'm bringing out tonight, because the next wheel I see is actually square array. But this one is the swan. So the swan here, I think this might have been done around the same time, 2023 to maybe 2022, I believe. Let me think. It might be. But yes, very gorgeous. And I'll have to bring this one up closer a little bit more, because this one actually doesn't have as like depth. It's a lot of color, so it's a little bit hard to see, not up close. But it's this swan, and the actual painting name is called Merry Beginnings, which if you look at it at the first moment, you might not immediately realize what's called Merry Beginnings, but I'll get into it just in a second. So Merry Beginnings, gorgeous swan. It's kind of got its wings coming out, honestly, and its head downwards. So downwards, wing coming out, and it's got this reef around it. So very gorgeous. So Merry Beginnings, the reason why it's called Merry Beginnings, for anyone that doesn't know, it's because one, the reef is actually referenced to Christmas, which Christmas is actually the artist Amena K's favorite holiday. She loves Christmas. If you ever are here during one of the lives for Christmas, most likely you're going to see a Christmas tree or some decorations. But Christmas is usually seen as merry, which that's where the merry part comes in. And then beginnings is, well, the swan. Now, of course, you probably don't immediately think swan with beginnings, but the reason why we put as beginnings is because there's a little bit more in-depth story for the swan. So here in Virginia, we actually have a mansion, I believe, that's on this gorgeous estate called the Maymont. I believe that's the one. We have multiple mansions, but the Maymont specifically, lovely place, lovely estate. I do recommend you go there someday. But the lady of the household, if you go and enter the actual mansion, you will see her bed actually is a swan. Like if you ever look up reference photos of a swan bed, you're most likely going to see the Maymont one, where it has this head going down, just like in the painting. It's kind of got these wings as well. Very gorgeous bed. But it's not only the bed she has so many little motifs of swan everywhere. She was literally in love with swans. Now you're probably wondering, why are you bringing this up? Where's the beginning in this? The reason why we reference this story with beginning is because here in this studio is actually a manor, an estate. And once we actually have this estate, like the artist got ownership of this, this was actually the new beginning of a new life. This was the growth of painting big. This was doing traveling, going and doing things we enjoy. So it was a new beginning that we enjoyed. And a lot of this house and the furniture and things that you see here actually is referenced off of the Maymont as well. So Marries from Christmas, Beginnings is basically from the Maymont, referencing a little bit of our life here in the private studio. But that's basically the story for that. And honestly, this one is a very gorgeous piece. It does have some slight leafing downsides, and of course you can see that it does got some color as well, which I'll give you guys a little bit up closer one for this one because it is in a very big frame. But here you can see it's actually got its wings coming up, and actually I believe it's on, yes, just on this side you can see that it has just some yellow on this side and only on that corner. Everything else does not have that yellow, and the reason why she did that is because she wanted to give it some more depth here very gorgeously. But as you can see, if you ever look up the Maymont lady's bed, it actually does have the same headpiece where it goes up and then down, which you can see the reference in that if you ever see it. But there's Merry Beginnings. Very gorgeous, honestly. And I do believe this one was painted in about 2023 to possibly 2024. Not exactly sure on the exact date on this one, but I do enjoy it, honestly. And I'm curious, where would you guys honestly put this? Because would you like take this out just for the holidays? Or would you just like put it in a room and leave it there? Because for me, personally, I would probably put it out with, I don't know, Merry Beginnings. I would put in the kitchen if I was just going to be out all the time. I would put in the kitchen because it's just nice, honestly. It feels like it would fit the kitchen. I don't know why. And if I were not going to leave it out all the time, I would probably bring it out actually during the spring. Not during Christmas or anything else, surprising, I know. But I bring it out during the spring because that's kind of like the new beginnings part of everything. It's kind of merry, it's kind of springy. And the reason why I see spring as merry, new things are happening. It's actually my birthday as well, so merry birthdays, new things, all that stuff. So I think that would be if I had to choose a certain season to bring out. Honestly, kind of curious on your guys' thoughts on this piece specifically before I put it to the side. So go ahead, comment down below, and then we'll move on to the next one, which is Peaceful Jungle, actually. Alright, I think that's good enough time for everything to catch up and stuff. I don't think I see any comments over here on the computer. I actually have on the computer. You can see like the edge, I think, on some phones. I'm not sure if all phones you can see the edge, but I can see that there's no, it hasn't gone up. So we're good, I believe, and everything else. So up I go. I'll give you guys one last look of this up close, and then we will move on. So once again, here is Merry Beginnings. This one is actually, I believe, I'm not sure, this one's the framed one. I don't think we have an unframed version of this. But this one's the Merry Beginnings framed, and it has the deep edges. I'm pretty sure you'd notice it if you look for the image. But very gorgeous. Go put this off to the side. And we're going to get to the next one, which I kind of already told you guys what this one's going to be. But we're going to have fun with it. So this one's a square one. Again, we're going back to our squares. And this is actually Peaceful Jungle. So much thinner frame. And you can actually see this one. We went over an actual tiger a little bit earlier. That one was Temptation. This one's Peaceful Jungle. They're both actually with the same scenario of spring, honestly. They give two different feelings, actually. Temptation gives more of like the I'm going to get you type feeling, where it's like it's coming for you because it kind of is interested in you, you know, all that kind of stuff. Whilst, what is it? I just had it. It's not Mario Games, because I just went over Mario Games. You are Peaceful Jungle, yes. Peaceful Jungle over here gives actually a peaceful element. And it's a jungle as well, so it's usually green, but it also is referenced in spring, which is new growth. As most people know, new growth, new opportunities, all those fun things. This one specifically, though, does have a little bit more backstory and meaning for the artist and myself. So at the time this was painted, actually me and Amena K, the artist of this every piece here, actually started our basically pop-up for a year in the downtown Fredericksburg location. This was actually the first piece ever made there. So not Mary Begins. I keep saying Mary Begins, but that was this one. This one, which is Peaceful Jungle, actually was painted first thing. It kind of is giving that calm, but things are growing around it and really beautiful. The main reason between that is because when we opened up the pop-up, basically, the pop-up location for a year, it was these new opportunities, these new things really opening up all around us, but instead of kind of like charging at it, honestly, we kind of, like this tiger here, we kind of just relaxed forward and we just enjoyed it, admired it for a moment before continuing on. We didn't immediately go search for like bunnies or whatever else birds to prey on, but like very gorgeous, and also it does give that peaceful emotion. I do see we got a comment, so let me get up to see what you guys are saying over here. Did you paint these? I personally did not paint these, okay? I'm not that skilled yet to paint this, but actually the artist is Amena K. She is actually on TikTok here, but this is also Amena Art. This is the company side of things. But occasionally she does join the actual lives. Amena K, the artist, also known as just Amena, as her signatures say, has been painting since the 90s, has actually also gone to college for it. Really specializes in color theory though, as you can kind of see with a lot of her paintings if you're actually looking at them and not just looking at me. But they are very good in color theory. You can really see she understands light and shapes and everything else, which she's been literally doing this for years, so very gorgeous pieces though that she's made. This one was one from last year. This is 2024, so one from more recent pieces over the years. Of course, it's not her most recent. That would have been, I believe, her last one. Her last one was released actually, which I'm not showing release tonight because we don't have actually the first edition prints of that one out yet. Currently I'm just showing you guys the prints of these, but I'm sure once we do have those out with its other first editions, I will show you them. But this one's not too far off. But I do love Peaceful Jungle. This is actually one of her nicer ones. And honestly, if I had choose a room to put this in, I keep saying it, I haven't changed my mind on it. I would put this in a gym. I know it sounds odd, probably, in theory, because you're like, why a gym? But like a gym, a yoga studio, something like that. But mainly a gym, I'm thinking. because you look at it, or at least I look at it, and I'm like, it gives this peaceful aura, but it's not giving like this peaceful aura, like, oh, whatever, just relax and stuff, but it's kind of giving this peaceful aura of just like keep grinding, but don't like push yourself too hard, because things are kind of like opening up and things, but you don't have to like go full like fully at it. Just like pace yourself, honestly. So it gives me that. It's kind of like a reminder to not have to run forward, at least for me. You can relax a little bit, just keep slowly going forward. Which, that's why I would put in like a gym or something. You guys probably have other places you can think of, which I would like to hear, because honestly, I know sometimes I think of places to put it, and most people would probably disagree. But that is Peaceful Jungle here, very gorgeous. And like I said, this is the actual fine art print, which all of these are collectors. I believe this is actually one of our first editions, but it's signed on the back by the artist Amena herself. And of course this one's framed, but I do believe we also have an unframed option for this. To look obviously for it, if you're trying to look for it, this is the 13 by 13, and of course just type in Peaceful Jungle and it should show up. But very gorgeous. I do actually enjoy it. And like I said, I would put it in a gym probably. This is why I probably shouldn't also be trusted too much with interior design. But very gorgeous. I do enjoy it. I hope you guys as well. We are about halfway through on this live, which is very nice. And because we're about 30 minutes in on our hour live, I'm going to quickly pause for a moment, but not really pause, but basically going to go through our normal thing and then continue on, which that's basically reintroducing for all the people that's just recently joined in. So, hi, I am Delphine. This is Amena Art. It's a company me and Amena K has made. She's the painter for everything that you see me show you guys every single night, basically, other than occasionally when I'm not here. But she paints these lovely pieces. I go live, and we honestly do enjoy what we do. These prints that I'm showing you tonight is actually usually our first to second editions. They are all signed by the artist herself and do come with little certificates and every other fun little thing. But you can find it here on this page, and only this page currently, because we are the only people that manufacture these and actually promote these, because this is our brand. But I do hope you enjoy the art as well as just listening to me or the music that might be slightly faded out into the background. But that is the reintroduction. Let's get back on track and everything else. So, hope you guys are doing well tonight. And let's get back to art. So, Peaceful Jungle. I'll give you guys one last close good look. Very pretty, honestly. It's got those nice tones to it. And honestly, I do love it. A lot of her pieces, she does actually mix the colors herself as well, which you can kind of tell with the different tones you got here. But it's very pretty. Now, ran into the table, of course. I'm going to go ahead, put this off to the side, bring out the next one, which I gotta make sure I put this correctly, because I do tend to forget which angle this goes. So the next one we have here, another square one, how fun. This one actually is called Cascading Flowers, and if you can guess by the name, it's not going to be an animal one anymore. We're actually switching from animals to flowers. Which, flowers is actually another common thing she does paint here. She paints a lot of animals, she paints a lot of flowers. We've got a few abstract now, which you can kind of see in the background, just like hiding over the pieces. as well as we have a few mystical animals as well. But flowers is actually one of her more common things you do see in her pieces. Even if it's beside the animals, she usually does add flowers. This one is called cascading flowers, and it is literally just some cascading flowers. It does have a little bit of a story to it. It's not just I saw cascading flowers and it's nice. But this one specifically is actually referenced off of Nice, France. This one actually took several years to be finished, which for anyone that needs an actual visual reference point, the one we just looked at, Peaceful Jungle, only took her a day. So that one took her a day to do. This one took her probably 5 years, at least. Okay, so 5 years to a day is a huge gap, which most of our paintings only take about a week or two to put into perspective. So a day is like the fastest, 5 years is currently the longest, which this is the 5-year one. Of course, that is not ongoing, that is off and on, but still one of the longest ones that took literally forever to finish. But Cascading Flowers here was referenced off of Nice, France at the time, about 5 years ago. She was doing a lot of traveling, especially to Paris and France, which she did multiple times. I personally have been as well. This was around the time I was probably about a young teen at the time. For reference, I am now 20, so it's probably about 5 years ago now. And it's very beautiful. You got these gorgeous ocean views, and they got flowers and everything else. That's kind of where the cascading flower vibe comes in. They got all these beautiful cascading flowers and bushy, and they're kind of bright, but not really. Then you see the ocean in the background. It's very beautiful from what I can remember. But that's where the original reference came from. But several years, as I told you, it took to paint this, was mainly because she didn't know exactly where she wanted to take it. It didn't take a whole shift, but she didn't really like the colors, as you can tell. When I bring it up closer, there's a lot of different tones and colors, and there's even some that's like, that one's a red leaf, but some of them's over here like a little bit more deeper or lighter. You can't really tell until I start pointing it out, but I will. But as she specialized in color theory and really color, it kind of annoyed her when the colors were just not as she wanted, and she just kept tweaking it, kept adding it, kept stylizing. You can really see over the years as she kind of changed it a little bit and a little bit more, that this is actually one of the pieces that would practically be impossible to remake because of just how many layers there actually is, which I will now bring it up to you all so you can see it up close. Really look at this color with me, which I do adore color myself, so fun. Because I had gone into art at a young age, but not to this level, of course. So as I said, we have some really odd colors here. We've got some really deep, like roses, I believe they are. But they're not roses. I can't actually name which flower this is. I'm not a flower fiend. But we got a really dark one here. We actually got a red leaf up here, which is the only red leaf in this entire piece. We've got kind of like a dark blue leaf hiding in between. Of course, we've got all these lines in the actual leaves, which is reds and blues, which I don't know if you guys can see them too well. We got a lot of shine from the overhead lights, of course, but of course you got a lot of blues. Even these are more bright. These flowers up here, really bright compared to the more dullated flowers over here, which you can kind of tell, which that's like a different stylization change she had. I believe these ones are a little bit actually newer, because I'm not sure. This could be newer or older, because this has a little bit more of the stylization of the palm leaves where they're a little bit more outlined with the nice colors and lines. Whilst this is kind of giving cherry birds, which that's actually older, I believe, than palm leaves. So that's two different sections of time there. You can kind of see, she didn't add in like all at once. It was kind of different spots she did it. Because you got kind of like this over here, just a little bit different of a style than something like this up here. You got some highlighting, you got some outlining as well. And all this beauty, honestly. And even with the little fluffy stuff in the middle that the bees gather pollen from, this is a whole different type of painting technique and style from the actual flower. Like, it has a lot of depth and honestly color that the rest of the flower doesn't really have. So it's got honestly a lot of paint on it and a lot of stylization, like I said, that you don't really notice until you get close, because if not, it literally just looks like a bunch of green and like reddish purples. But yeah, it's literally taken her about 5 years to finish it, which it is officially finished. Yay. It is signed actually on the corner here, this corner. It's sideways. So just for anyone that's curious, if you ever get this piece, the way that this is supposed to be positioned is how it is currently, where the blue is coming up and that leaf on this far corner is down. So the signature should always be sideways, leaf down, and the blue should be at the bottom. So sometimes I do get mixed up myself because I tend to turn it to the side and it looks fine usually, but that is not how it's supposed to be. So cascading flowers, very gorgeous. It's a little bit more of a story, but it's mostly a timeline showing how you kind of evolve your style, your person, and how you kind of want to add certain things, because this really defines her own style over the years, even if it's not really that you can tell. It's only when you put it next to other pieces that's across the years and you look back at it and then you look at other pieces and you're like, oh, so that was probably around this year for that part, this year for that part. And they really start to dissect it, and it's gorgeous, honestly. But cascading flowers, I do love it. It's one of the more sentimental pieces, and actually I believe the original painting is a part of the artist's private collection currently. I believe so. I'm not sure. I'd have to double check on that. But very gorgeous. Of course, this one is the fine art print, which that means that it's signed. And I believe this is, I'm not sure, this might be the second edition for this one. But very gorgeous. I do love it. And honestly, it's really nice. It's sentimental. It really shows how time changes people and styles and everything else. And honestly, I think it's fitting. So that is cascading flowers here. And I hope you guys enjoyed it as well. So I'll give you guys one last close look at it before I try to figure out what's our next one. So once again, when I'm bringing it up close, you guys can actually kind of see the different colors she's got here. I know you got a lot of reflection here. You can kind of see the phone in the reflection, but I'm trying to, there's not much I can really do about that. But very gorgeous. It's got a lot of color actually to it in real life because there's not as much reflection, but I love it, honestly. So this is going to go off to the side. Or actually, our prints for tonight. Oh my goodness. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to come around behind you, where you can't see me. I'm going to grab another print. And this will be the final print for tonight, because technically I wasn't expecting to go over this many, but that's just what happens sometimes. You just get through them and then you're like, oh, I have this other one. So this is the last one for tonight, okay, I promise. This one is another square one, as you can tell, but this one's not cropped or anything else. This one actually, I think this one's actually one of the older ones, probably around the same time Cascading Flowers was first started to be made. But this is the Doves with Cherries. I kind of mix up the words a little bit. But this is Doves with Cherries, and it's actually this gorgeous chandelier piece. Once again, very heavily inspired by France, like the other one, which that was more Nice, France. This is more Paris, France, honestly, with their gorgeous lights and wall, like what is it, like wall lights. They have a lot of like ladies and animals, kind of like ingrained onto it. It's a very artsy city, which I think I even have a clip of the last time me and the artist Amena was in France, and we went into, I believe it's this gorgeous, what was it? It was like an opera house or something, like an old opera house. And we went in there. I think I have this clip of her just staring at like, I think it was like one of the lights. Like everyone was staring out at the ceiling of this beautiful art piece, and it's just very gorgeous in there. But she was looking at the actual like design of like the walls and the lights, because even just the walls and lights in France, very gorgeous. They do much beauty with their history. But this is actually one of her older pieces, which how you can usually tell is one, by the style, and two, that it's a flipped one. So she does not do a lot of these flipped pieces anymore. I think currently she has possibly one in production, but this is actually one of her few that she painted where it's double-sided on both sides, same exact thing. She does actually have a large collection of these in coloring form. So she has a coloring book form for a lot more of these, and a few of these actually are in oil. I believe this one specifically, the actual painting itself is oil. And that's also, I believe, one of the few ones that's not signed because it is in oil. But these gorgeous cherry birds, or just doves over here, that are kind of just sitting on this chandelier. It's kind of like standing there. Then you've got these cherries kind of like coming down very gorgeously. But you can really see the reference of like France and their like beautiful designs and everything. Just with how it's flipped, how it's got like the animals or the ladies or something on the sides. It's just very intertwined and beautiful. But this one, the actual original painting, is acrylic, so very gorgeous. But I do love it. I'm pretty sure it's acrylic, the original painting. But once again, this actually, the original piece, this one actually was made of, was a part of a coloring book. I'm pretty sure the coloring book itself was like French something. I can't remember exactly what. It's French something. But basically it has a bunch of animals and like these gorgeous like intertwining and double-sided. A lot of her coloring books at the time was double-sided because she really wanted to get really good at drawing. So she was wanting to get better at drawing and stuff, so she could do a lot more intricate line work. Actually, one of her current hardest pieces that she's ever done is a double-sided painting. It's called The Eels. It's actually never even been showcased publicly, but it's literally her hardest painting that she's done to date, which if you ever get the chance to see it, either do it live, vary between just in person, you'll probably hear the story on why that one's the hardest. But currently, I'll put it off to the side because we got cherry birds. Very gorgeous though. I do love it. And thank you for the likes. I just did notice that you guys been spamming it. And I love you guys as well. But cherry birds here. It's very gorgeous. Very lovely. And they got the cherries. does give me obviously France vibes, just like the last one, which is fitting because they were painted, or at least the starting date of the both paintings was about the same, which I believe this was probably 2020 to 2021, just off of guessing. But I do enjoy it, honestly. This is one of the more underrated paintings I believe she's done, with obviously the fox being the favorite for most of the viewers that we've had. But this is one of the more underrated ones that honestly I feel like deserves some more recognition, because it is really beautiful and detailed, honestly. But this actually is the first edition collector print. This is the 13 by 13, and it is actually sewn on the back by the artist herself, as well as, of course, this one's in a frame, but I'm pretty sure we do offer an unframed option as well. It's called Cherry Birds, or Doves with Cherries, while the other, if you look it up, I'm sure you'll find it. But it's very gorgeous. I'll give you guys one last really good look of it up close before we continue on. Really, you can really see those lines when it's up close that kind of like intertwine and stuff, which I think is a beautiful detail. But honestly, I do love this one. If I had to choose, now I'm curious on where you guys would put this, like all the ones that I have shown you tonight. I am obviously very curious on where you guys would put this, which I don't think anyone's really told me tonight, but that's fine, so I'm pretty sure you guys have thought it at least in your head. But for me personally, this one, I would put it in, I don't know, actually. This one, it kind of demands like a very nice space for it to be in, but like not too nice because it's kind of like subtle. I feel like this could be in a kitchen. Honestly, if it's like a French kitchen, it could definitely be in a nice kitchen, because obviously food and stuff related, it can go in kitchens if it's food related. But if it's not in a kitchen, I could see it also just sitting next to like a bedside, honestly. Like I could see it as like a bedside piece as well. I can't really see it in my places though, just because it really does give like that style of elegance that you kind of just don't want it to be like downgraded, I feel like. That's the right word. But it's very gorgeous, honestly. I do love it. But we are almost done with this live. We've gone in for about 53 minutes. So for anyone just joining in, hello, hi, I'm Delphine. This is Amena Art. No, I am not the artist of this. Our artist is Mia K. That's why it's called Amena Art. She does have a TikTok, and occasionally she will join the lives. But I do this basically every night to every other night. And this is our 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time live. So we're almost up with this live if you're checking the time about now. Which we have about 5 more minutes, honestly. And we're just going to end it on this one, which this is the Doves with Cherries, I believe. Doves with Cherries or Cherry Birds. They kind of have intertwined names. 2 names, just like this one I have behind me. This one actually has 2 names, which we went over the story actually on this one hidden behind the piece here. If I can move out of the way. This one here, we actually just went over this, I believe, yesterday. I believe it was yesterday or so, 1 to 2 days ago, which I haven't uploaded that just yet. I'll get to that tomorrow. but this one actually is called Abstract 1, even though it's technically not the first abstract we have. It's actually the second, but this is the first official abstract we have here. And it also has a second name, which is not Abstract 1, which actually came a little bit later, I'm pretty sure. And I believe it's called Murky Minds. I believe that's the name that she mentioned. So Murky Minds / Abstract 1. And honestly, it's very detailed in color. So I'm pretty sure I'll show it another day, or you'll catch the inside the art for this piece, which if you ever catch the stories of us actually standing or sitting talking about one of the paintings here on an easel, I do recommend you watch, because it really does go a lot into depth on why, which some people do ask a lot. But very interesting piece. Honestly, you can see a lot of things, and it kind of just changes all the time. But do love this. And of course, this, which is the cherry doves, or also known as doves with cherries. I just noticed we have fireflies outside. That's very nice. Very nice. I haven't seen fireflies, honestly, in years. But cherry doves, very gorgeous, as much as most of our prints here. But of course, if you guys have any questions or anything else, this would be the best time to ask, because we have about 4 minutes left on this live. So whatever you guys are doing, just listening to me, whatever, waiting for the next piece, this is the final piece basically for the night. So if you have questions on this or anything else that you see in the actual shop list, or even that you just saw on our page, you're more free to ask now while I'm still live and here to answer questions. Well, obviously I'm here, but for the most part, I'm going to quiet down. We're going to spend the last few minutes of this live a little bit more quieter, unless you guys have questions. So go quiet down. You guys can stare at this, or whatever you guys like to do. We got the music up. For anyone that's just joining in, we are kind of doing a little bit quieter wind down. So you're looking at cherry doves, also known as doves as cherries, doves with cherries. But this is one of the older pieces we have, probably about 2020 to 2021, and it's actually one of the few double-sided pieces we also have. It was part of a small coloring book collection, which just randomly got chosen as the one to be painted. Kind of winding down because we only have about a few minutes left of this live, but you're still more than free to ask any questions or scroll through the product list as well. But that's basically what we're doing. But thank you still for joining us. you for joining us. Reminding me that it's time for the live to end. So for anyone that's just joined in or has obviously heard me say this probably about 3 times now, sorry about that everyone else, but it's the end of the live now, and honestly I'm happy that you guys were here. So for anyone that's just joining in, this is it. We're pretty much done, so finish up what you quickly joined in to do, or just listen to me close out. So I'm Delphine, this is Amena Art. We make everything here ourselves. The gorgeous pieces that you see me show every single night on live basically is done by Amena K, our amazing artist who does all the work here for all of our paintings. But this is our 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time live, also known as, if you look at your time and you go back an hour, that's basically the start of the live to now. But very gorgeous piece. This one was the last one I showed for the night, which is cherry birds, also known as doves with cherries. But very lovely. And of course, thank you all for joining us tonight. It's much appreciated that you obviously stay around, listen, comment, say hi, whatever you guys like to do. But love you all very much, and thank you for joining in, even if it was just for a moment or for basically the entire live. But this is it. I hope you have a lovely good night, a good morning for Monday for anyone that works Monday through Friday. Or even if you don't, I do still hope you have a good Monday morning, as well as I hope you have a good rest of your night. I'm Delphine, this is Amena Art, and we are tuning out now. Goodbye.